Board. Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm back for the second time. It's Friday, April the 7th, but today on this particular podcast, I'm joined by Mr. Sean Higgs of picksandparleys.net. Sean, how are you, my friend?
Pretty good. Another opening day. I think we have like 5 opening days for baseball. That's why I love baseball. We have the opening day, and then there's like a second opening day on Friday for teams who don't play on Thursday, and then there's a Monday opening day for teams traveling, and then your Thursday, Friday opening days for teams coming home. Or it's
and opening days today that were scheduled for yesterday, but they left the date open just in case it was a rain out, and now it's opening day for the third time. So,
or in the Phillies case, they postpone a game for rain that never comes. So there's that. That could be you're like anything you want to talk about. They're like a little rain. Let's talk about being a meteorologist, and you never have to be right.
I mean, not for nothing. We could do that job if they want to hire us. Yeah, it smells like rain to me. So
I mean, what is that about?
What do you think the weather's going to be?
It's like, let me go outside. Oh, my shoulder's bothering me. My knee hurts. I think it's going to rain.
Yeah, there you go.
Feels like snow. My knee hurts.
Old-fashioned weather report. We don't need meteorology.
My bones hurt. I know. I tore a muscle. I strained something. You know exactly how the weather's going to be.
Anyway, folks, we have 2 Major League Baseball free picks for you to go on Saturday, April the 8th. Again, reminding you we're taping on Friday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern time right now. It's more or less 24 hours in advance of the games we're going to be covering. And speaking of those games, I'm going to be looking at the Toronto Blue Jays at the LA Angels, and Sean will be looking at the Seattle Mariners at the Cleveland Guardians. Make sure I get that correct this time. So I sent out the schedule this week and I wrote down Indians. You know, I just creature of habit after all these years.
I still call them the San Diego Chargers. I mean, and people are like,
oh, yeah, you even did that on our podcast a couple times.
You don't even know where the teams play. Like, really? Yeah. I'm sorry. They were 30 years. My whole life they've been the Cleveland Indians. I call them the Indians. I'm used to it.
I had a winner on Utah Valley in the NIT on one of our podcasts, and I referred to him as Utah Valley State. And boy, oh boy, how could you trust anybody who doesn't even know the name of a team? Well, look at Utah Valley State. We're not talking Mississippi State, Florida State. We're talking about Utah Valley.
But weren't they Dixie State first? So that's technically right. Were they Dixie State?
From Dixie State to Utah
Valley. So you could add the state in there. It happens.
So yeah, man, oh man. You're doing well. Okay, with your picks,
nitpicking
the information you're providing when they start picking at you for little stuff like that. In any event, we do appreciate you all. We do thank you for subscribing. Those of you who haven't, I don't know what you're waiting for. You're watching the video. Take a second to do so. It costs you absolutely nothing. There's no strings attached. You're going to be privy to world-class sports betting advice from not only myself and Sean Higgs, Doug Helpstone of DocSports.com, Joey D'Amico over at SportsMemo.com, and Mr. Jesse Shule of JesseShule.com, along with others in the future. So, again, we really appreciate all the new subscribers of late. We really appreciate all of you who've been with us from the start and for a long time now. It's what keeps this channel alive, and we do appreciate each and every one of you. And don't forget, give us a like at the end of the video too. It just makes guys like us who put in the time and effort to do these for you, it makes us feel appreciated. And I'm sure that 90% of you are appreciative of what we do. In any event, Sean, baseball now, I just sent out a letter or an email, to all my subscribers. I am passing in the NBA until the playoffs begin. 0-2 last night, 2 totals I lost on. I'm normally really good at NBA totals, and I had enough. It's just, today you're looking at Golden State is laying 8.5 at Sacramento. The Knicks are getting 8.5 against New Orleans. You look down the list, and there's a cavalcade of players that are, I was joking with Jesse earlier. I got done early yesterday, so I go upstairs because I have my office. I built an office in the basement here, and I go upstairs, and my wife says, "What are you doing up here so early?" I says, "It's load management, dear. That's what they do in the NBA. That's what I have to do." She goes, "Okay, it's load management for business. Now you're on my time. Go out and cut the grass. So anyway, I couldn't get away with it.
NBA. How many times I've gone on the rant about the NBA? No betting allowed.
Yeah.
For on the sites, 18 and 21 with my NBA. That's it. Minus $44. I say this all the time. How are you trusting guys? They don't want to play and they make $20 million a game, a year, whatever they make. Like you see these double-digit lines all over the place. They're sitting out. Guys are and people get upset like, oh, if you're not betting the NBA. Listen, I have bet 40 NBA games. I bet 70 baseball games already in a week.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Baseball, I know who's playing. Even on a Thursday, even a day game after night game, I know I'm.
Well, the big key with baseball, number one, you start with the pitching matchup, right?
Yes.
You look. It's not an exact science like it used to be when we handicapped the pitcher, because now everything's gone to specialization when it comes to pitching. But still, what's your first starting point, right? Sean is the starting pitcher.
Who's on the hill tomorrow? Exactly.
Yeah. And what their history is against it.
And then on a Wednesday or a Thursday or a Sunday, you might have somebody might sit. Maybe one guy. They're never it's not the minor leagues where 6 starters are out and everybody's getting a rest day once a week. It does not happen. Even the guys who still play 150 games a year, 152, 155, they might be at 6-7 games the entire year.
Yeah, I told Doug this yesterday. I believe I mentioned it on our podcast yesterday. I almost go through a little bit of a period where I'm a little bit depressed because not clinically, folks, but mentally, when you're all hyped up to do stuff like the NCAA tournament, and then the NCAA tournament ends, where games are all meaningful and for the most part, college basketball, meaningful games throughout the season, because there's no load management in college basketball. The bottom line is they only play 30 regular season games a year, right? So, and now I'm a numbers guy. So Sean's a little different, and Jesse's a little different. We're all a little different in our philosophies, but I'm a numbers guy. I need to accumulate data, and just not rely on past trends or whatever the case may be. So I always say, I don't always say. I started to say it the other day, and I'm going to continue to say it. I need numbers to beat a number. And so as hyped as you guys were to do Major League Baseball, I start to get hyped a little more when starters start to get 3 or more starts under their belt. Teams start to show some kind of a pattern. So it's not easy at any time, but I really tread lightly at the beginning of the baseball season. Now, I know you don't. Obviously, you just alluded to the volume of plays you put out, but you may want to share with the folks what you're looking for when you don't have any data in terms of performance, any substantial data in terms of in-year performance, because we're still talking the first week of the season.
Yeah, and this is even for like college basketball, because it's almost the same kind of turnover from a baseball. So you got nothing, and then you're coming into something. And with college basketball, I look at the team. I kind of, you have a team you like. I think the Cubs are going to be good this year. And although I haven't really bet them that much, I just, whoever, insert any team name. And I go from there. I think some teams are going to be good. I think some teams are going to be bad. I look at pitchers I think are going to have good seasons. Others I'm not so fond of. And then we start bowling them together. All right, I think this team's going to be bad. I'm going to start fading them out of the gate. Obviously, a team like the Yankees or the Astros are thinking, all right, I can't bet them because the lines are high, but I could run line this game. I could. Maybe I think the Cleveland team's really good pitching. I'm going to look at unders here in the series. Now they're playing the Mariners again. I was going to say from, they've locked up their season series already in 2 weeks. Whoever it's, the Reds, it's a team. I think the offense is terrible, but I like their pitcher. I like Green today. I like Lodolo. I like Ashford. They got some young pitching. I want to maybe take them as dogs all the time, because if they take one in the series, if they take that first game or second game, I'm plus money, and I can say I don't need the third game. I can wait for the next series because I just need a good number. So for me, like I do the player props, it's guys I think are going to have good seasons. And with the player props, obviously, it's not we're putting $100 on these games. These are $5, $10, $20 as they listen. I'm having a nice season. I'm up over 2,000 in unit wise, but I've only been betting $10-25 on these games. It's not like I'm betting $100 or just I got like 30 props. It's again, it's based on.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I've heard you use this terminology on many occasions on the show, and even when we talk off air. and I know what you mean, but the viewers may not. You always say, I'm looking for a good number. I got a good number. Explain that to the folks exactly, because that could be a broad,
yes,
a broad definition, right?
And for everybody's number is different. Like for me, for baseball, I laid a one, like we're going to talk about a game, I don't jump into the free pick now, but like for tomorrow or today, who do I have for tomorrow? The Mets tomorrow, like a 138. And I kind of like, for me, that's a number where it's right on my edge. Like I'm from like maybe a 140 to like a 160. I don't want to lay that kind of number. Maybe a 140 on a run line because I think the team's that good. You have a Braves versus the Nationals or something the other day where 135 and they covered that number. So for me, I'm looking for the number. I don't like laying big numbers. And I've said this before sometimes on my show for Midday Money. Am I overthinking by not laying the 120? And I'm saying I'm going to overthink and I'm going to do a run line for plus 145. And all of a sudden I take a loss. I'm like, what am I doing? Russ, you've been betting a long time. So you want to kind of, well, I can do better. I'm going to outthink myself even and go from just doing money lines where I don't want to lay 120. I'm going to say how smart I am. And this team's going 4-1. I'm going to get a 160 back. And that's so for numbers for me is that's like, it's a plus 160, for player props. I don't, I'm looking for anything over like a 130, 140, $2, 2-1 kind of things, 165s. And a case like a guy like Judge, he's a plus 125 for an RBI today. I'll take that. The guy's, hits in Baltimore. But once it gets down to even money, it's minus 105, 110. I'm not doing that. And again, for me, for doing the Midday Money show or even this show, I think anyone, a pro or a Joe, could come in and say, I'm taking Judge for an RBI or score run minus 105. Well, that's not, it's even, that's basically bound to happen. It's even money. That's, so for me, the numbers is I want to find a nice sized dog. Is it too big where I'm like, I'm going to avoid it, right? We see that in spreads. Wow, that looks crazy. I can't bet that. They're begging you to take one side. I'm going to go the other way.
Yeah. And
baseball, it's not that I'm going the other way. It's like, I don't have to bet it because there's 15 games. There'll be 15 tomorrow, 15 on Thursday, 15 on Friday. Every day there's going to be a dozen plus games. I could let a winner go by. I have no problems leaving a winner. Oh, you got to take, I'm not laying 240. I don't care if the values, it should be 290. It doesn't make a difference for me because I've seen guys get shelled or a guy rolls his ankle coming off the mound. He's out. I get a bullpen game and you're laying 260 and you end up losing 6-3 because your starter goes out with something, or he takes a line drive off the leg. He's out of the game. Yeah. I can't do that. And I have to win 3 games to make up for 1.
Yep, exactly. And, I agree in terms of, some of the stuff I look at is I like to look at pitchers' performances in the month of April. You'll be surprised how many small tidbits you could pick up in that direction. Some guys start really, really good throughout their careers, and other guys are slow starters, for lack of a better phrase, And
I think for April, it's a spot where you can take dogs a lot. Like I come out, I'm 38 and 34 baseball plus 414. There's dogs in there. There's some run lines, but this is the time of year where you jump on crazy dogs. Like I'll take, the Oakland A's are $2 dogs. Well, they've won 3 games already or whatever they have. And it's worth a shot taking them at 2 and 4 because they're plus $2 every game. Yeah. So yes, in June or even in a month from now, they might be on a 9-game losing streak. You're not playing them.
Yeah.
This is the time you see the Pirates. They just swept the Red Sox. Nobody's giving them a shot. April is the time you bet your dogs. That's how you get your little bankroll so you can go and bet.
Yeah. How many times have we saw teams get off to a fast start and then just fizzle out completely? It happens every year. And it happens every year where a good team gets off to a bad start.
Yes.
And everybody writes them off and say they were overhyped. And all of a sudden, middle of May or early June, they go on an absolute tear.
162 games.
It's a long season.
A better player. It's gonna.
And I'm glad you said that.
Pay down the line.
Before I lose my train of thought, I'm sorry, Sean.
No.
You brought up the topic of overthinking yourself. And, my problem sometimes that's happened to me over the course of my career, just as recently as the Final Four, I'm on an 11-2 college basketball run. Okay. I'm trusting my eyes. All of a sudden I get real technical in the Final Four and start looking at every nook and cranny. And lo and behold, I go 0-3 in the Final Four in the NCAA tournament. Like I like to say, I get too cute. And, you almost get a little bit cocky and too cute. That's why the biggest thing, one of the bigger things, if you want to be successful in this business, is the ability to stay on an even keel. Now, it's not as
tough
easy as it sounds. You know what I mean? Because it's a roller coaster ride, especially like with us when you do it every day. And Sean mentioned baseball season. You get 15 games a day. It's not 15 games a week like in the NFL, or 16 games a week in the NFL when there's no buys. It's 15 games a day, pretty consistently 5 days a week, and the other 2 days are off days, travel days, whatever the case may be.
And there's still like 8 games.
And there's still enough on the board. So, I mean, there's no sense of rushing the process. And I know a lot of guys get excited when a new season starts and they come right out of the gate firing. And next thing you know, they spent the next 2 months catching up. I'm one of those guys that just likes to take, like today, you just mentioned begging you to take an underdog. I looked at the lines today, and without looking further, I says, how is Minnesota? I know it's their home opener, but they're a favorite against Houston. How many times has Houston been a dog over the last year or two?
Couple years, exactly.
Last year they were only a dog like 20 times, Sean, 25 times, somewhere in that area. And actually their record as a dog, especially against teams with a winning record, wasn't that good. No. So I know they're begging you to take Houston, and I went with Minnesota. So as a favorite against the defending champions.
Yeah, I got them myself too.
Yeah, so those are the type of things I look for early. And again, don't undervalue looking at the month of April. You can go to Baseball Reference and you could actually look at the splits of pitchers throughout their career.
I love Baseball Reference.
Yeah, and each year. And it'll show you the performance in the months of April, May, and you could pick up little stuff like that, right, Sean?
Yeah, I like it. I go there because I click on the pitcher and you go to his career and you see how he is versus like specific teams, especially when they're facing division opponents. You see
certain ballparks,
last year,
Yep.
Yeah. And they break it all down for you. Now, obviously, there's a bunch of games. Am I going through every single guy? No, because like any sport, I'm saying these are the games I like. Then I'll go from there.
Yeah.
And then where are the numbers at? What are the odds are? Is it somebody I kind of, and that's where you fall into the trap of your hype on somebody. Like, I think this guy's going to be good and this team's going to be good. That's where you got to separate it. But like anything, Ross, it's money management. You can't come in just firing all over the place. You mentioned whether it be football, college basketball, college football. Hey, you got to level it out and ride it. You're going to have streaks.
Yep, exactly. I mean, I also had a game that I used for tonight. It opened at -1. I can't be specific. You might be able to decipher through what I'm saying and come up with it. And God bless you if you do. More power to you. At least you did the work. But they opened up at -139 yesterday, and now they're around 160. But I got down real early yesterday, and I'm glad I did. Because once it goes over that threshold of 140, 145, either I got to go to run line or I'm not going to use the game. Exactly. There's a lot of guys that will lay 170, 180. And look, I don't want to criticize anybody because actually Jesse's one of those guys that will stretch it up to about 170, and he does very well. So, you can't argue with results. But my thing is, and it's no disrespect toward Jesse, is I was always taught anything over 150, to be specific. What do they don't need us to pick games like that. They could do it on their own. You know what I mean? Because basically those are obvious plays, and obvious plays, if you lose one of them, you're going to have to at least win a minimum of 2 straight to make up for that, So in any event,
it's tough when you get up there. Like, yes. And Jesse, I can't go that route because of my sheer volume of plays.
Yeah.
So even hitting, a 50% at that rate, I'm buried laying 70s or 80s on those. But take him on an average, take him back plus 112, 115, whatever it is, 103. I'm plus money. I'm plus money with a losing record.
Yeah. Yeah. And Jesse's a thorough believer that once you get over 200, you take that risk. But if you get into the 170, 150 to 170 range, that you're still getting good value on a team that's obvious. So, and you know what? I did a study on that when he told me that, and he had there's some credence to that. There really is. So,
and he's disciplined. The average person isn't disciplined like Jesse or
he's not giving out 5 games at minus 170 either.
Exactly.
And he's not giving out those games every day.
No.
But on occasion,
you can do that a couple times a week, and that's fine when you go 4-1. You're making money.
Yeah.
However, you see his records. They're right there. He's 60%.
Speak for itself.
It speaks for itself.
If you got a guy that's hitting consistently around 60% like he is, then
there's no surprise coming in.
No.
You see what you're getting. Like me.
Now, if you're hitting 60%, you're giving out all 150s or greater, minus 150 or greater. That's another story, because you could end up losing money or breaking even.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. Yeah. So, all right, let's get to the free pick, Sean. Let's start with you, and we're looking at the Mariners and the Guardians, and Marco Gonzalez goes for the Mariners, or is scheduled to go for the Mariners, and it'll be Cal Quantrill, who is scheduled to go for the Cleveland Guardians. Right now, I have Cleveland as anywhere from minus 133 to minus 140 with a total of 8.5. What do you got for us, my friend?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here too. And these guys, I kind of alluded to, they played last week. The season just started last week. But they're playing. They opened up against each other and they're playing again. And this is a game that should have you played early. Why can't they play this in September when maybe this is a wild card implication game with these two clubs? You never know. Right. I mean, you got two good teams. Both of these teams I like. I'm high on Seattle. Finally, a big breakthrough last year. The young guys came through. Robbie Ray, Kirby, Castillo. It's a good, Gilbert's going today, I believe, against Cleveland.
Yes.
And Cleveland's pitching staff, I think Cleveland has the best pitching staff. I know Tristan McKenzie got hurt, but top to bottom, the bullpen, excellent team. 5-2 out of the gate for them. No complaints. The hitting, 5 guys are better than like 285 in their everyday lineup. Or 5 or 6 guys. That's crazy. This is a team that had like 0 offense.
Yeah.
And
they were totally relying on pitching last year.
Yeah. A 285. Listen, they had 285 for the season. Wow, they're going to win 105 games. It'll regress. It comes back to the norm. I get it. And both of these guys didn't look good in their first outings. They gave up runs. Cal Quantrill gave up 5 in his 4+ innings. Gonzalez gave up 4 in his 5 innings work. So I think we'll see some runs here. Weather. Is it a problem? It is Cleveland, maybe in the 60s in April. I don't know what the weather looks like tomorrow. I like Cleveland here at the 135 range, 140. I got it myself. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to jump right into it when we're at the start of the show, but let's go Cleveland here. And again, overthinking, right? We're trying to get too technical. The run line's 1 plus 140. It's like, 140 is so much better than if I lose. It's 135. But I'm gonna stick with Cleveland here. Their hitting is there. The bullpen is there. I like this team to win the I think for the West, the Central here, the Twins are the sneaky team, but Cleveland I think is they're my favorite to win it for the Central.
I mean,
it's all about the bullpen is great, and if they get any kind of hitting, because the hitting is atrocious. If they hit 260, they're going to be a really, really good team.
Well, they're not going to hit 285, but if they're any better than they were last year, if they improve upon where they were last year by even 10 percentage points in average and 20 percentage points in OPS, I mean, they're going to be a terror. I mean, their bullpen is solid too, like you said. Really good home favorite Cleveland was last year. I got the stat here somewhere, but
and again, this game's in June. It's different. I'm looking at Seattle as an underdog because it's just a different time. This spot here, Seattle's team I want to bet on. But right now, I got 2 guys hitting over 270 for the team. I can't bet a team. You're 2-5 coming into today. I can't bet on a 2-5 team. We talk about the streaks, Ross. Baseball teams lose 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row, and they win 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. Ride those streaks if the numbers are within whatever kind of range you're comfortable with. You have to.
Yeah,
you can't bet on losing teams. That's not a recipe for making money. Betting on teams that are slumping.
All right, the shot clock has expired. So
I'm sorry. All right.
No,
we had earlier about the picking games and why.
Anyway, since 2021, Sean, Cleveland is 66-28 as a home favorite of minus 110 or greater, and that improves to 20. 18-3 during that same time frame since 2021, when they're a home favorite of minus 110 or greater, and Cal Quantrill is their starting pitcher. So there you go. Cleveland's
what was that spread they were at 18-3? 120 or more?
110 or more is a home favorite with Cal Quantrill as their starting pitcher.
Wow. 18-3. That's a good little number on our
and 66-28, which is over 700 baseball, as a home favorite of minus 110 or greater, regardless of who's pitching for the Cleveland Guardians. So, and their bullpen, you just nailed it. Their bullpen right now, I know it's early, but a 0.99 whip, which is tremendous. Seattle's bullpen, on the other hand, a 154 whip. Cleveland did win, like Sean alluded to, 3-4 in Seattle. So I agree with that pick. Cleveland anywhere from minus 133 to minus 140. Again, I don't know if that line will move, but it starts to approach 150. I don't know if Sean would. I would say
run line.
Yeah, you got to start thinking about that. But there's nothing wrong with if we give you a pick. Remember, we're putting these out 24 hours in advance.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to grade our picks on what we give you at the time of the show. But if you don't see this till tomorrow morning, meaning Saturday morning, there's a good possibility this line might go up to 160. Just don't jump. Neither me or Sean will give you a minus 160, minus 170 favorite. So you either got to make a decision at that point to take the run line or just stay away from the game. We're doing these videos.
Or watch the video ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly. So
put the notification bell on, people.
Yeah. Toronto at the LA Angels. For me, it'll be Jose Berrios for the Toronto Blue Jays and Tyler Anderson for the LA Angels. That game's slated for 9:07 p.m. Eastern Time. First pitch on Saturday, April the 8th. Right now, as we speak, the LA Angels are a minus 115 money line favorite. The total in this game is 9. Boy, this Jose Berrios, I remember when he first came up and I saw him pitching here in Rochester. I thought he was going to be a real star.
Yeah, with the Twins look good.
And he's had his moments. Okay, he really has. But the big thing with him, he's Jekyll and Hyde. And when I say that, when you look at his home and away splits, unbelievable. How different a pitcher he is on the road than he is at home. 17 road starts since last year, including one this year, with a 6.77 ERA and a 155 whip. Since 2018, he's made 4 starts at the Angels, 10.59 ERA and 171 whip, including 5 home runs allowed in just 17 innings pitched. Season debut at Kansas City, and we know that Kansas City can't hit the way out of a paper bag, at least for right now, and it's pretty much been that way for the last couple of years. So and at Kansas City on April 3rd, 5 2/3 innings, he allows 8 earned runs, 9 hits, and 2 walks. So this guy is, for whatever reason, it's in his head, or there's no home crowd pumping him up, whatever the case may be, he just does not perform well on the road. Tyler Anderson is a lefty. Let's start with that. He debuted in 2023 on April the 5th at Oakland. Solid performance, 6 innings, no earned runs, 4 hits, 2 walks. Now, let's not get carried away too far with that performance, because Oakland is probably going to lose about 110 games. But since last year, Toronto, when facing a left-handed starting pitcher, is only 13-22. Couple that with Berrios' struggles on the road, and also the fact that the LA Angels is a home favorite of minus 110 to 150, and coming off a win. If they happen to win tonight and they go into that game tomorrow off a win, they're 10-4 in that situation as a home favorite of minus 110 to minus 150 in that parameter when coming off a win. So a lot of good stuff there that favors the Angels. And again, I start with the starting pitcher and I work out. And I'm going to go with the LA Angels here, minus 115 over the Toronto Blue Jays, Sean.
And I'll add, not that I'm a parlay guy, but throw the over in there too with Bruce. I'm on the over 9 because he's bad, and they could hit, and the Angels could hit a little bit, and they're hitting. Angels off to a nice little fast start again, beating up on Oakland's. They put 10 up in Oakland Coliseum. I don't care what team you are. It shows some bats. That place is
Yeah.
That's a place where offense goes to die.
That's where hitters go to die. Yes.
Yeah. Over to 9 for me. I've already got that minus the 115. So, but I can't disagree with the Berrios take. That's auto fade on the road. I should have known better when I saw him open up at like a 115 on the road at Kansas City. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's remarkable because the guy's got good stuff.
Yeah.
He's always had good stuff.
They made the trade. I'm like, wow, they're going for it. And then
yeah, it is what it is.
He went from like the ace over there, and it was like Gausman, and he's like the 2, and now they got Alek Manoah, Chris Bassett. You know, here you go down the line.
Alek Manoah is the real deal. He came back from that miserable open day performance to pitch very well in his last outing. I did have Toronto in that game -1.5 with Manoah, and they won 3-0. So
and he's an old school guy. He throws inside. He's not afraid to hit people, crowding the plate.
Yep. He's very effective, very confident young pitcher. All right. So Sean likes the Cleveland Guardians minus anywhere from -133 to 140 over the Seattle Mariners. That's what the line is at the time of this recording. And at the time of this recording as well, I like the LA Angels -115 over Toronto. Real quickly, Sean, we got about 3 minutes here. Tell the folks where they could find you and about your podcast and what you may have coming up this weekend.
Yep. You find me on Twitter, Mr. Sean Higgs, the daily podcast, Midday Money, 7 days a week. It's I stream out on Twitter, but it's on wherever podcasts you listen. Your favorite podcast, you can find the Midday Money show there. And like Ross, no betting allowed. We'll see you for the play-ins next week. Yeah. You had Miami was a 1-point dog. They win by 28 on the road. Cleveland sits everybody. 5-point dog wins by 30. Stay away from the NBA. You don't have to bet it. You don't have to bet the 1 o'clock baseball game midweek because it's a game. You could pass things. It's okay. And I'm passing NBA. Same with hockey. A week left. I'm not running to bet hockey. No, thank you. Baseball. If you want a lot of baseball, I got you covered on the picks and parlays on the Win and Free Pick websites. And of course, all my props are on the Twitter. I throw a bunch of props out there if you like some RBI kind of props. And they're all plus money props. Never minus one.
So you can find Sean over at picksandparlays.net. Also that midday money show that he puts out every day at noon Eastern time live. Great show. A little more unique than what we do here. And that's why they're both good shows. And that's why they're both successful. So again, follow Sean there at picksandparlays.net and check out his midday money sports betting podcast over at picksandparlays.net as well. You can find me at rbwins.com. That's rbwins.com on a nice run since the end of last baseball season. 13-2 combined with my Major League Baseball run line and money line plays. And folks, I don't give out big favorites. I do use the run line, but I will not give you a money line favorite of more than 140. And I very seldom even approach that. So if you go to rbwins.com, single game, multi-game packages, if you don't make a profit, you don't win. I will credit your account the exact amount of your purchase price. You could use that any which way you like at any time. You're not going to get your money back, but your account will be credited toward future purchases. The idea there, folks, if you stick with me, you're going to make money over the long haul. If you want to bail after just one loser, that's your prerogative too, but you're leaving money on the table. All right. So Sean at picksandparlays.net, Ross at rbwins.com. Don't forget to subscribe, folks, and give us a like at the end of the video. And for everybody out there, for Sean Higgs and Ross Benjamin, and all of us here at the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast, we'd like to wish you a very happy Easter weekend. And if you don't celebrate Easter, that's fine too. We still wish you nothing but the very best. And we also say God bless to you as well. So until the next time, which will be on Monday, have a great weekend, folks. Take care and God bless.